Hi, in this module, we're going to cover the Power BI basics. We'll learn how to sign in, how to import the examples, and also how to navigate around the environment. So let's begin. Power BI uses the same credentials as Office 365. So you'll sign in at powerbi.com. In the upper right quadrant, you'll see the login button. Go ahead and log in and use your credentials there. If you need your credentials, please see your administrator about getting those. But it's all managed in the same environment. It works in almost any browser possible. It's all using the latest HTML, so I haven't found a browser it doesn't work in yet. And it's a very simple process to get signed in. So throughout this class, we're going to have these timeouts. A timeout is going to make sure that you actually understand the concepts and that you're all hooked up and ready to go. This will be our first timeout. This is where I want you to pause the video and go ahead and sign in to your environment. If you, after this timeout, we'll go ahead and show you how to do that as well. But go ahead and pause the video now, and then go ahead and sign into the environment, and then come back and unpause me at that point, and I'll show you how to do the same thing. All right, welcome back. At this point, hopefully, you've signed into your environment. But let's go ahead and just recap how to do that now. So I've gone to powerbi.com, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit the sign in button in the top right area here. Next, it's going to ask me, now I've already used my credentials at some point. Let me go ahead and sign off and actually show the right credentials. If I'm already signed in once, it will remember that and use it again. Let me sign out though. I'm going to go to powerbi.com. I'll click sign in again. And this time it's going to ask what account I want to use. I'm going to hit the other account here just to make sure that, start from scratch here basically. I'll sign in my credentials. And then I'm off to the races. Now when you first sign in, it's going to drop you into the recent folder of all the stuff that's recently been added to Power BI. So if you're seeing the screen, it might be blank, it might have some stuff inside of it. You've successfully done the first try it section. Now that you signed in, let's explore a little bit about what you see inside the Power BI environment. So first of all, you see data sets down where it's marked D on my screenshot. These data sets are all the data that you can bring together, whether it be cloud data sources like Salesforce.com, or whether it be on-premise data sources like an Excel spreadsheet, or a flat file, or a database in your environment at your work. The other area we can look at is workbooks. These workbooks are marked as C here, are things that you might have uploaded, Excel workbooks that you may have uploaded. Once you've uploaded these into the Power BI environment, they could be used as data sources also. There's two ways of getting those those workbooks up there. You can link to a OneDrive document, which basically whenever you save that workbook in the OneDrive, it will update Power BI. Or you can just upload the workbook locally as well, locally from your laptop up to the cloud. The other section are reports. These reports are built on top of a data set, and these are where you go and click, 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 and it builds those charts and those items for you that we'll cover a little bit later also. Now on top of the report, we have our dashboard marked as A here. This dashboard are elements that you want to pin from the individual reports. So you might have 5 reports and you want to pin the best parts of those reports into a dashboard. So we can go ahead and hit the little pin button and it actually pins those into a dashboard. And lastly, the workspaces. These are groups that you're part of, like maybe an HR group, maybe an accounting group, and inside that group is a list of data sets and reports and dashboards themselves. So these are things that you have permissions to play with inside your company. The download panel you'll find in the top right. This is where you can download things like the Power BI desktop that we talked about in the first module. You can also get a link to the Power BI mobile app there. And there's 2 Excel options. The one you're really going to care about for this class is the Analyze in Excel updates. So this is where you can go through and any dashboard here, hit a button and it will download that and allow you to go ahead and interact with that data set right inside of Excel and build reports. So if you're comfortable in Excel, that Analyze in Excel option is a really good option for you to go ahead and download and install also. Or request that your desktop guy comes over and installs that. You'll also find the little gearbox icon. That settings icon that you're seeing, that gearbox in the top right area of Power BI, you'll find out how much space you've used. So of your 1 gig or 10 gigs or however much you have acquired, how much of that space you've actually consumed already. You can also turn on preview features here if you have permissions to do that. Those preview features might be things like the GIS, the mapping features. or you might find some other good stuff inside that they're always releasing. They always try it in preview mode first before they release it to the general public. There's also some dashboard settings you'll find where you can turn on certain things like questions and answers for each dashboard. You can do that on a dashboard by dashboard basis if you have permissions to do that as well. The other option, which is really critical, on the bottom left, you'll see the Get Data option. This is where you can go ahead and build your own dashboards, your own reports, and your own data set. You can do this by importing objects. So on the right side of the screenshot you're seeing here, you can go ahead and import your own files or link to your own databases. Or on the left side, you can get data from your organization that somebody else has already published out there. You can also point to a service. This service might be something like Google Analytics, or if you're an accountant, the accounting system. It will go ahead and point to the web service out there by hitting the mid option where it says services. And once you do that, it will go ahead and import all that data for you. It's a very, very easy way of doing that. There's also samples and templates in the bottom left that I've highlighted in red in this case. We'll be using those throughout this class to play with throughout the class also. Those samples look like this. They have industry samples from throughout the world. So you might find things like the HR example. We'll be using the customer profitability those class, which is the top left one. We'll also be using one to play with the human resources samples as well. So let's begin by showing you a quick demo. We'll go ahead now and we'll explore the environment, and then we'll also import the samples, and then I'll go ahead and have you do the same thing by yourself. So let me go ahead and hop out real quick. Let's go ahead and hop out. I've already signed in our last try it section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and expand my workspace, which is my personal area that nobody can really access. In my workspace, you'll see first of all under recent, this is all the recent stuff that people have done. Inside this, I'll find things like, let me go to my workspace here. You'll find things like my data sets, my dashboards, my reports, and my workbooks, the 3 items we just talked about. Now, if you have a lot of items, you can also search for the right area right here under Search Content. But generally speaking, we're gonna stick in the dashboard section. But we have a module dedicated to each of the areas you're seeing here. We'll start in data sets. So in data sets, you'll notice a whole series of actions you can do, whether it be sharing those data sets right here. You can also hover over it to find out what this icon does. You can schedule refreshes. You can go ahead and refresh it manually, or you can build a report on top of that data set also. So those are the areas we can quickly look at. If I expand my workspace, you'll see the same things here. My data sets that you're seeing on the right, you're seeing on the left as well. The workbooks I have, these are my workbooks. You're seeing like a good old-fashioned Excel workbooks here. You can also, this one's loading up a little bit, taking a little bit longer to load up on the web. And I hit it right as it was opening up. You're also seeing my reports right here. So I can click on one of these reports like this guy right here and see some nice pretty reports. And then lastly, our dashboard. You'll notice I can pin each of these items by hovering over it and clicking the pin icon. You'll see that same dashboard under here. And I can make those bigger and smaller. So we'll cover each of these sections in a lot more detail as we get into this. But let's go into the Get Data section next. So in the Get Data section, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to import the samples we'll be using throughout this class. And we'll cover more about this also as we get into it. So if I go under Samples, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the human resource sample right now. Now, if you already have done that, like in my case right here, let me go ahead and remove that now. I'll start in the data set down here. I'm going to select the little ellipsis button and I'll hit Remove. There we go. And it went ahead and removed all the things that depended on it also. So it removed the report and the dashboard by removing that. So let's go ahead and hit the human resource sample. I'm going to connect to it. And right now it's importing the data. It's also going to create the report and the dashboard after doing this. Now this might take a few minutes in your environment, so we'll go ahead and pause the video right now, but you'll see in my case it actually worked within a few seconds. So I'll go ahead and hit Go to Dashboard, and we can see the first dashboard that was created. So in my case, we had the dashboard. The dashboard has a report on top of it, and then that report has a data set that's underneath that. It's fueling this. So all 3 of those areas are built on top of each other. So let's go back to our slides. And in this demo, you learn a little about the environment, and you've also learned how to import a sample. Let's go ahead and take a time out now, and I want you to do the same thing. I want you to import the customer profitability sample. Go ahead and explore the dashboard, and you can also click on that dashboard to drill into the report also. So you can click on any of the elements you see in this. You'll know you're successfully complete when you see this dashboard right here on your screen. So we're going to take a timeout right now, pause this video, and go ahead and import the sample that we saw under Get Data called Customer Profitability. All right, so go ahead and pause now. All right, I hope you're successful. Really quickly, I just want to show you how we did this. And if you feel like you have this slam dunked, go ahead and fast forward this part. So let's go ahead and show how to import the customer profitability example. Again, I'm going to go down to Get Data in the bottom left. I'm going to go to my samples. Once I've done that, notice there's a whole bunch of examples I'm going to use, but I'm going to use the customer profitability example, and I'll hit Connect. This takes about 30 seconds or so. You'll notice the data set's already here, and right now it's all done. It created a workbook this time, and it created a dashboard and a data set. So I know I'm successfully complete when I can hit this dashboard here called Customer Profitability Example. Let me go ahead and close, go to Dashboard, there we go. Hit that Go to Dashboard button, and it's going to open it up now. And it's still loading, it looks like. There we go. All right, so now it's all loaded. Now the last step we can do is we can drill into this dashboard. And I didn't show this too much, but I can go and click on any of these dashboard elements, and it will jump into the element that it found, the report. So if I click on this guy right here, which is target versus actual, it's going to jump to, in this case, Excel. Like what fed this? In this case, it was an Excel report. In this case, it fed it. All right, well, great job for being able to complete this example. Let's go ahead and recap what we've covered. All right, so in this module, we learned how to sign in to PowerBI.com. We did this with our Office 365 account. We also learned that dashboards are built from reports. Reports are built from dashboards, and that workspaces are an area that we can use to communicate with the rest of our team. Now, our next modules are all about how do we create things like reports and dashboards and workbooks and workspaces. So we'll go through each of those areas and review those and actually use those next. Thanks a lot.